So yes, I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. So this is week 5 of our 10-week meditation course. And in the previous weeks, we've gone over um, basics of meditation, breath meditation. Last week, we also went over the 5 hindrances and how to deal with those in our meditation practice. So this week, we're going to be talking about metta or loving kindness meditation. And so this is a very popular and very useful type of meditation to use. But first, it's good to kind of just explain what metta is, what loving kindness meditation is, because we don't actually have a word in English for metta. So that's why sometimes it'll be translated as loving kindness or loving friendliness. And to be personally, I prefer just using metta because it is a slightly different concept, and it's easier to get a feeling of that word, and so we don't get it too confused with some of our other words and other concepts we have in English. So I will, for the most part, just be using metta, or if I do use loving kindness, it all means the same thing. so so metta, it's this uh emotion or mind state of really wishing the best for someone else. So it's a very it's not to be confused with like love as in like romantic love or something like that. And it's not liking. So it's not, because a lot of times like when we get into stuff like liking, it's very uh we like someone because they make us feel good, or we like someone because they do something for us. And so this is a very a pure mind state. Outside of that, it's a well-wishing for someone else or for ourselves, not based on getting anything in return. So it's just this general well-wishing. And when we start getting into the technique we're going to be using, it will start giving you a bit more feel of exactly what metta is. So this these real positive emotions we're trying to develop towards ourselves and towards other people. So you might be wondering, well, why use metta? Like a lot of people when they come new to Buddhism, especially from the West, they just want enlightenment. They were attracted by the real wisdom aspects of it, and the analytical thinking, and so a lot of people come in and just, no, I just want wisdom. I just want to go straight to enlightenment. I don't want to waste my time with all this loving kindness stuff. But it's actually really beneficial to us, and it really benefits us in our practice, and it'll benefit us in our other meditations. There's this famous monk in America named Bhante Gunaratana, and he tells this story. He was teaching somewhere, and this lame woman had just met him and was asking him about his teachings. And she was like, "Oh, do you teach jhanas? Like these are like the concentration, the absorptions from concentration." He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I teach that." And then she was like, "Oh, do you teach vipassana or like insight meditation?" He's like, "Yeah, I teach that." And she was like, "Oh, do you teach metta, like loving kindness?" And he's like, "Yeah, I teach that too." And she's like, "Oh, I don't like that. Don't have any time for that. I don't want that." But it is something which is really beneficial for us. I kind of think of it as a bit of cross training. So, cross training in sport is, if you have one sport you do, you'll do a sport outside of that, and that will help you with the sport you're doing. So it can be like this with loving kindness, that even though at first when you're doing it, doesn't feel like just that straight developing wisdom, but it's going to help us with our other practice, help us with our mind and our mind state, and developing the other aspects of our practice. And on top of this, loving kindness, it is a what we call samadhi, or like a concentration or tranquility meditation. So we can use this instead of the breath to become concentrated. And one of the nice things about doing loving kindness meditation, and which can really help us bringing us back to it, is it actually feels really nice. You're generating these really like positive feelings and mind states towards yourself, towards other people. So it can feel really nice to do, which, if it feels good, it's always, you're more likely to do it again, right? So so it's really beneficial in these ways. It also has this ability, when we're doing loving kindness meditation, to really open the mind. Like it feels a very, very expansive, opening the mind. And it also uses a lot more of our the thinking mind. So instead of something like the breath, where you just go to this very subtle object and are trying to make the mind be quiet, we're using thinking. So we're going to be using today some verses, and for a lot of people, especially if the mind's a little more active, that using something that uses the thinking mind to calm itself down is really useful. So one of the things you'll see is a lot of people will use will have a part of their meditation sit be loving kindness. So it's very normal for a lot of people when they start their meditation sitting, they'll sit kind of uh ground their mind, get into the present moment and stuff, and then do maybe the first 10-15 minutes of, say they're sitting for an hour, of loving kindness meditation, just because it's so good at calming the mind down and you feel open, and it's much easier to get into doing your other meditation. So you might do some loving kindness at the beginning and then start doing some breath meditation, or you can just use loving kindness as your meditation. And one of the advantages of doing loving kindness meditation is it's going to have such a strong effect on us outside of our meditation as well. When we start developing it, it's the exact opposite of anger. It's the exact opposite of aversion. So as we start bringing more and more of this, the opposite of aversion, into our mind, it'll start to help wear away our anger, wear away our aversion. So we're going to have these more happy, bright mind states. We'll hopefully not have anger and aversion coming up so much. And when anger and aversion does come up, if we are skilled at loving kindness, at metta, we can in that time, we can bring up that metta, we can bring up this tool we've developed for dealing with anger. So when we do get angry, we can just start doing some loving kindness meditation to cool down that anger. And you'll see with the method we're going to use of it, one of the things is it's going to start changing the way we view and we think about, and the perceptions we have about other people. And so this can help us, especially if we have a lot of, say, negativity towards certain people or a certain person. It's going to start changing that in our mind, because you know how it is with negativity. It gets to the point you just hear that person's name and you're like, oh, and it can create so much suffering and discontent in ourselves. So we're going to work on overcoming that. And like a lot of the other things we're doing here, loving kindness is a skill. So, you see some people in life and it just seems like they're just so naturally like caring and loving and everything great. And it just seems so easy to them and they just seem to have it. And then you meet other people in life who don't, but it's not set. It's something we can develop, a skill we can develop, and the metta we have can grow over time. So that's just a kind of a brief overview before we start. Next week we have another whole class on loving kindness as well, so I'll get more into it then. But I'd like to maybe just introduce the technique we're going to be using today. So we're going to be using a very traditional technique for developing loving kindness. So it's going to be using verses. So we're going to go through this set of verses and to help us bring up these really good intentions. And we're going to do it to 4 different people. And there's a traditional pattern to do it. So normally first we start with ourselves, because then we move to someone that we care about, someone that's very easy to develop loving kindness towards. And then we're going to move on to someone we feel neutral about. Could be an acquaintance, just someone we see on every now and then, but we don't have any strong feelings either way on. And then the 4th and final person we're going to use as someone, we have some aversion towards, someone that it's not so easy to develop loving kindness for. So the reason we do it like this is, we start off with something easy and we start, it's building that loving kindness, building that strength, and then it's easier to start spreading it to someone else. So one of the similes they always use is like starting a fire. You don't start a fire with a soaking wet big log. You start with dry kindling, and then as the fire gets going more, you can put on bigger and bigger pieces of wood, and they can be a little wetter. And then, by the time you get a big bonfire going, yeah, you can throw on that big wet log, and it's not going to put the fire out. The fire is going to dry it out and then burn it. And so when I was just about to ordain as a novice, I was living at Wat Pah Nanachat in Thailand, and this very senior Australian monk was giving us a teaching on loving kindness. And there was this lady from America who was there. And this was, I think, maybe 2007. So this was back in the when George W. Bush was the president of America. And she wasn't a very big fan of his. And she was asking this Ajahn about this. She's like, I try sending loving kindness to him and I just can't do it. And this Ajahn is like, oh well, he's a tough one. Start with someone easier. And this was really, really impactful to her. And she ended up like that night she found the answer she was looking for at the monastery, is what she said. And so we do that. So we start with someone who it's easier, and then we start moving on to more difficult. But sometimes for some people, it can be difficult for them to start off with sending loving kindness to themselves. So some people are, we can be a little self-critical, or some people may feel that they don't deserve loving kindness, but we all do. Everyone deserves loving kindness, and it's very good for us to develop it towards ourselves. But if you're finding it difficult to start with yourself, try then starting with someone that it's easier to send loving kindness to. So it could be someone close, a family member, a teacher, a good friend first. Or there's one teacher in Australia who's very famous named Ajahn Brahm, and he'll recommend to, if you can't start off by sending it to yourself, to send loving kindness to a little puppy or a little kitten, because for most people it's very easy to have loving kindness to a puppy. And so you want to start off easier, and then gradually we'll get to the more difficult ones. And then we're going to do it with this set of verses. So we're going to be internally, saying these verses, and there's no like one set to do. I'm going to teach the ones that I use, but there's different verses for, and different people, different teachers will have different verses they use. So it's you don't have to be set on one set of verses. Over time, if you find another one which works, that's really good too. It is good, especially in the beginning, if you try not to change them every time. Like, it's not for most people, it's not good to have too much of a freestyle, like just thinking up stuff then, because then you can easily get into, you're just kind of thinking a lot. But again, but what I'm trying to say is it's nothing set in stone. It's something that you can change, and you can find ones that work better for you. So kind of hitting you with a whole bunch all at once, but we can maybe try now doing some, and I'll just do a guided loving kindness meditation for everyone. Okay, so we'll start by, everyone can get into your meditation posture. And we'll just start to bring our awareness into the present moment. Being aware of our experience here and now in the present moment. And we can start to become aware of our bodies, being aware of our experience in our bodies here and now. Being aware of our posture, being aware of any sensations we're experiencing in the body here and now. If there's anywhere in the body we're experiencing discomfort, experiencing tightness, tension, stress, we can just gently put our awareness on these areas. And we can allow these areas to relax, allowing them to loosen, to soften, allowing all that tension and tightness to just fade away. Now we're going to start by generating loving kindness towards ourselves, thinking, may I be happy. May I be happy. Thinking, may I be peaceful. May I be peaceful. Thinking, may I be well. May I be well. Thinking, may I be free from harm. May I be free from harm. Thinking, may I be free from hardships. May I be free from hardships. Thinking, may I be free from problems. May I be free from problems. Thinking, may I have long life. May I have long life. Thinking, may I have good health. May I have good health. Thinking, may I become enlightened. May I become enlightened. And now we're going to spread loving kindness to someone that we care about, someone who it's easy to spread loving kindness to. May this person be happy. May they be happy. Thinking, may they be peaceful. May they be peaceful. Thinking, may they be well. May they be well. Thinking, may they be free from harm. May they be free from harm. Thinking, may they be free from hardships. May they be free from hardships. Thinking, may they be free from problems. May they be free from problems. Thinking, may they have long life. May they have long life. Thinking, may they have good health. May they have good health. Thinking, may they become enlightened. May they become enlightened. Now we can continue by spreading loving kindness to someone we feel neutral towards. May this person be happy. May they be happy. Thinking, may they be peaceful. May they be peaceful. Thinking, may they be well. May they be well. Thinking, may they be free from harm. May they be free from harm. Thinking, may they be free from hardships. May they be free from hardships. Thinking, may they be free from problems. May they be free from problems. Thinking, may they have long life. May they have long life. Thinking, may they have good health. May they have good health. Thinking, may they become enlightened. May they become enlightened. So now we're going to spread loving kindness towards someone that we have some difficulties with. May this person be happy. May they be happy. Thinking, may they be peaceful. May they be peaceful. Thinking, may they be well. May they be well. Thinking, may they be free from harm. May they be free from harm. Thinking, may they be free from hardships. May they be free from hardships. Thinking, may they be free from problems. May they be free from problems. Thinking, may they have long life. May they have long life. Thinking, may they have good health. May they have good health. Thinking, may they become enlightened. May they become enlightened. Now, as we're coming to the end of our meditation sitting, we can just gently start to bring our minds out of our meditation, trying to maintain some of our mindfulness and maintain some of those feelings of loving kindness. So when we feel ready, we can just gently open our eyes and finish our meditation session for this evening.